Hi, I'm Mike Dixon, and you're listening to Two Guys Talking Rush.
Hi, this is Mark Cunningham. I'm the organizer for Prog for Peart, and you're listening to Two Guys Talking Rush.
Two guys talking rush. Two guys talking rush. Two guys talking rush. Two guys talking rush. Two guys.
And now, get ready for the Two Guys Talking Rush podcast with your hosts, John Kane and Dan Buxton.
Hey folks, my name's John Kane, and this is the delightful Dan Buxton, and welcome to episode 45 of the Two Guys Talking Rush podcast. This is not Two Guys Talking Juice Newton.
Nope. It is not.
It's two guys talking the incredibly iconic Rush. So listen in, folks, and discover the best damn Rush podcast in the entire Solar Federation. Two Guys Talking Rush. What's up, man?
Not too much. Just enjoying, the burgeoning days of summer and all that shit that we, love as Rush fans. And I don't know, my son just finished school today, and soon we go away for the summer, and life is good. What can I say?
Yeah, summer days, man. There's nothing like them.
Yep.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Vermont for a couple of weeks, and we had the weather was varied. It was like when I got there, it was freezing. I had my sleeping bag, and then cold and rainy, and then it switched to, just wicked hot.
Yep. 90-degree
days, and then it went back. The humidity lifted, and then we had these crisp 70-degree early summer days. It was I got like a sampling platter of weather.
Yeah, all your possibilities.
I know, but it was all good. Good times, and summer's here, and we love that. And we're sticking through the summer with you guys. We're sweating a lot and getting this podcast together in the heat of our tiny little apartments with the lonely ceiling fan spinning around, and our wife, well, I shouldn't say that, our tank top, our
white shirts,
our white shirts, and our 5 o'clock shadows, typing away at this to script this the show and produce the show for you guys. But actually, no, folks, that's not happening. Well, I want to welcome everybody in, and I think we're up to about 30,000 downloads now, which has far surpassed my expectations of how this show is going to go. But I think we're getting a lot of good feedback, and that's paying off, Dan.
Yeah, I don't have like a total concept of like what's a really great number or what's a terrible number, but the number keeps going up.
Yeah.
So that's good. So yeah, let's hope it continues. I hope that means people are enjoying it and are amused by our banter or something.
Well, after 45 episodes, let's say we only had 300 downloads. Then it might be like we might be the loneliest guys in the room here. Like, Dan, time to give it up. I think 30,000 downloads, people are like, wow, it's catching on and it's boosting. So
must mean something.
Yeah.
Although if it was 300 downloads, I probably wouldn't know any better either, and I'd be like, wow, that's great. So
for a whole year, 45 episodes and 300 downloads.
300 downloads, exactly.
Dan, you got to get your math right there, bud. That's funny. But hey, listen, we're at this point we're looking for sponsors. If any Rush fan out there has a business or hopefully music related, we could talk sponsorship, in some way. But it might be a good way to get the show moving in a bigger and different direction. And I don't know, I have some friends that are doing podcasts. They get tons of sponsors, so it could be anything: guitar companies, pick companies, whatever. I don't know.
Pharmaceutical company.
with the really fast disclaimer at the end, like,
Yeah.
oh, may cause anal
May
bleeding.
cause explosive diarrhea and death. Yeah.
May cause death. What did he say? Oh, meanwhile,
But
everybody
my skin is shiny. Yeah, so,
everybody's walking through the park with a fake smile on.
yeah.
Those commercials. Anyway, welcome folks to episode 45 of Two Guys Talking Rush, and we're excited to be here with you and to bring you a new episode. And again, we love hearing from fans, so feel free to shoot us any ideas. Anyway, this show is hosted by fans. Dan and I are huge Rush fans, and of course, we're doing it for the fans, and our listeners know we are inclusive. We bring everybody in, from fans to the big stars. We'll let, if someone says, hey, I want to be on the show to talk about my story, you're on. And then we've done it. We've proven our style in that way. So we hope people understand that. Each week we try to mix it up with guests and very varied content, diversified content, and we want, again, fans to join us on this journey of Two Guys Talking Rush, because someday it may not go on. I guess things don't last forever, so might as well make an impact. Yeah, imagine that. Imagine being like 70 years old doing this show. Like,
the longest running Rush podcast in Sunny.
Grace Under Pressure. Grace is my wife's name. Oh,
that wasn't my wife. Or something. I don't know.
Grace. The blessing. You get my.
I should know these Borscht Belt jokes a little better. But
I love the Borscht Belt.
Oh yeah, of course you do.
Definitely. Before I forget, I wanted to thank our guests on episode 44, writer Leslie Ullinen. And Leslie was a sport and a great guest. And then just to remind folks, in April of 2021, Leslie, who's a San Francisco-based writer at McSweeney's Daily Humor website, she wrote an article titled an FAQ about your new birth control, the music of Rush, a satirical take on using Rush's birth control. So here's a little taste of what she said in that controversial and hilariously funny piece. Quote, no one has ever gotten pregnant while listening to the music of Rush. Clinical studies show that when combined with watching a male sexual partner play air bass along to the extended solo and Free Will, the contraceptive efficacy of Rush approaches 100%. Oh, Leslie, come on.
She may have something there at the same time.
So funny, dude. Yeah, some music just doesn't work in the bedroom in that manner.
Oh no, I mean if like you're watching some dude play air bass, generally I find with the ladies, that's not like, oh, I need to know that guy.
It's not a turn on.
I need to meet this person.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess what I was trying to say, or my point is that you play Barry White in the bedroom. You don't play Rush in the bedroom.
Exactly. Or Wagner.
Unless there's someone out there that gets turned on by Rush in the bedroom, let us know. That would be
seriously, yeah.
Does Rush do it for you?
Yeah, right into the show now if that's you, because we really want to talk to you.
Rush is sexy. That doesn't make sense. Well, anyway, Leslie, super smart, super talented. We were honored to have her on our show, and thank you so much, Leslie, for joining us on Two Guys Talking Rush. And listen, if you write another article about another band that you despise, let us know. We may like that band. And actually, Leslie, listen to Ronnie James Dio if you like Castles, Dragons. The nemesis of all.
No, who she could write about, who I really hate, is Emerson, Lake and Palmer. So that's your next assignment, Leslie, if you're listening. Anyway.
Moving on. Well, here at Two Guys Talking Rush, we're fans with the talented crews who make up the live event and touring industry. Please support sweetrelief.org. The industry is picking up at the moment, which is great. But there are people out of work that are just out of the job completely and not working in the industry any longer and need that help. So don't forget about those who made the rock stars. Okay, so sweetrelief.org, and that's awesome. So as a reminder, you can hear our podcast on TuneIn, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, Simplecast, iHeartRadio, you name it. This show is also recorded in video, so you can check out our YouTube channel. And when you do, click subscribe so we know you're there. And I don't know, that's what people do when you go to YouTube channels. Well, maybe they don't so much, but click subscribe. Okay, folks. A quick shout out to rushradio.org. You can find Rush Radio on the TuneIn app and at rushradio.org. A big thank you to Ed Stenger at rushasaband.com. We love Rush as a Band and Power Windows websites, 2112.net. Ed Stenger is a pioneer of just Rush being on the internet and writing about Rush in this way.
Pretty much, yeah.
He really is, dude. He's the Mark Zuckerberg of Rush. No,
I'm gonna call him the Sir Edmund Hillary.
Okay, there you go.
Made the first ascent to the top of
Everest.
Yeah.
Okay. You hear that, Ed? We love you, man. And anyway, another quick shout out to the Mighty Why Not. Their music can be heard in the show's intro. An incredible band and who are going on tour and will be with us in the fall. Rush fans, we want to hear from you. If you have any comments, suggestions, ideas, questions about the show, please submit them to us. We'd like to hear from you. Email us at 2guystalkingrush@gmail, TWO guys talking rush at gmail. Definitely do that. We're always looking for super fans for our Rush super fan spotlight. Again, what is a super fan? What makes you a super fan? Let us know. Perhaps you have a collection of Rush belt buckles.
Who knows?
Okay. Check us out at
Rush mini discs.
Stamps.
That's what I would like to see. Yeah.
Stamps. Do you have a Rush stamp collection?
Was there ever a postage stamp?
Absolutely. There should be, but no, I don't think. That would impress us if you have something that no one else has. You can see us and learn more about us at 2guystalkingrush.com. Our Facebook page is facebook.com/2guystalkingrush. Twitter is /2 guys talk rush, #2 guys talk rush. And again, subscribe to our damn YouTube channel, will you? You can support our podcast at patreon.com /2 guys talking rush. Throw in a couple of nickels to keep the show going. Well, we have fan mail now. It's a regular thing. It's like Mr. McFeely, coming in and dropping off his package.
Mm-hmm.
Good
reference. Yeah.
Yeah. It was Mr. McFeely or Mr. McFeely?
McFeely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Are you sure it wasn't Mr. McFeely?
It was Mr. McFeely.
Okay. All right.
And if I'm wrong, I'm sure someone will write in.
Another pioneer of those who portray postal workers on television.
Part of that sad fraternity of people who play postal workers on television.
Was there ever another? Can you think of any other actor?
I think just like people who played David Berkowitz in made-for-TV movies.
Oh, man. I can think of one other. Funny Farm with Chevy Chase. The mailman in that was the crazy nut job who threw the... Did you ever see Funny Farm?
I did not. But I did see The Naked Gun 33 1/3.
Oh.
And there's a reference to like disgruntled postal workers going on a shooting spree in like the first 5 minutes. So there. Also, if you watch it now, you'll have this moment where you're like, O.J. Simpson is in this, which is always like
what a classic movie, man.
That'll sober you right up when O.J. Simpson walks on screen. It's like, oh my God, yeah.
Well, I can imagine people listening. It's like, what are these guys talking about? I don't know, folks. We're just chatting. We're just, Dan and I talk about obscure, weird things, and we.
This is our social life, man.
This is it. I know.
Yeah.
It's sort of like you guys are like listening in on our conversation in some way. Yeah.
It's like they're trapped in a bar that they can't get out of, listening to two drunks talk about the past.
It's so true. Yeah. Because we could just never put this podcast out. It would just be a conversation between Dan and I, two Rush fans.
Instead, we give
sharing
it to you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a gift.
That's what it is.
All of you. Yeah.
So true, man. Well, here we are at fan mail, and as I was saying in the beginning of all that rant, that we are getting regular fan mail now, which I love because so little of it is positive. I just love the two. Just joking. No one has really sent anything that's been
good.
Obscene, or if anybody has, it's cool. I dig opposite viewpoints and things like that. So
we welcome your hatred.
Yeah, and I wonder if, because we had Leslie on, she said she was getting some hate mail, and I wonder if we'll get any because we had her on. Like, whoa, we're
I hope
sort
so.
of betrayed.
I hope we get some hate mail. I'm really looking forward to getting some hate mail.
Oh man, that's brutal.
I'm a big fan of hate mail.
You've got hate mail.
Oh, I honestly, I've gotten my share, and after the third one, it's really funny. The first one, you're like, oh my god, I really fucked up. After the third one, it's entertaining. So please, pour it on, people.
I think she got a lot, and I'm just curious. If someone thinks about sending us an email like that, go for it. But at the same time, just consider what this show is about. The show is about not just about how much we love Rush, but also learning why others don't love Rush, because we love Rush. So it all comes from a good place. And, if anybody is a longtime Rush fan like myself, I've been Rush shamed a lot, in my life. So, I've had to seek help for it.
Yeah. If anyone wants to send us like really, really like angry hate mail, what I would ask of them is just at the bottom. This is very important.
Leave your number.
Put your social security number and your mother's maiden name, and we'll get right back to you.
We love our fans.
Yeah.
Send what you want. Who cares? Anyway, we're just having fun. Fan mail. Hello, John and delightful Dan. Ooh, this is from Jonathan. Hello, John and delightful Dan. Hello, Jonathan. Thanks for keeping the spirit of Rush alive in your podcast. You've had some great guests and interesting topics that keep me returning every week. I've been a fan since Signals, and now that the Rush news is much more limited, your show has filled a sizable gap in my guests for all things Rush, and my quest, and my sizable gap, and my quest for all things Rush. Wow. We're filling in gaps, man.
I would never have considered that possible for myself, but okay.
Gap filler.
Yeah.
I can almost accurately mime the intro part of the clips of Getty saying two guys talking and Rush after a few more episodes. I'll have nailed it.
Nice.
Yeah. I like that little intro. That was fun. Yeah. I used to scour the music magazines at the local bookstore to find nuggets of info on album releases and tour set lists, etc. The internet, of course, became a treasure trove of old interviews and real-time updates. Since the end of the R40 tour and ultimately the passing of Neil Peart, dealing with the knowledge that no more new material or live performances will happen is still challenging and raw. That anticipation and excitement for the next new thing is sorely missed. Oh, I agree with you, man. Yeah. I've always said that. I think what I miss most is just, again, like he says, this what's coming up for Rush. Knowing that. Is there anything in your life as it relates to music that's new music that you can't wait for to come out?
No, and really most of the time now it's just like reissues of old stuff that they just reissued Sabotage by Black Sabbath.
That's right.
Like album. A week ago or something like that. And it's the same album with the Asbury Park 75 bootleg that everyone's had for years.
Yeah,
that's all it is. I still got excited for it anyway. But there's no like new music.
What a drag.
That makes me go like, oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, what a drag. Well, Jonathan goes on to say, I find myself watching reaction videos and taking delight in seeing people with no or limited knowledge of Rush having their brains explode at what they are hearing for the first time. One quote, one likes to believe in the spirit of music, end quote. I've also been seeking out bootlegs more than before, and YouTube has quite a few, including many I never knew existed. Ever since my brother brought me home the Signals album, I became infatuated with drumming, and I became a drummer, working in several different bands and a private drum instructor. I already played guitar at the time and learned more Alex riffs than he himself could probably remember today. I have some Rush buddies on Twitter that I get together with on Periscope, and I'll take requests and jam out for hours. So much fun. Time for another one. Actually, Rush's impact on my life can't be measured. I agree with you, brother.
Sure is.
And tell your friends about the podcast, of course. In closing, I wish for your podcast a long run with many more great guests and intriguing content. Kevin Shirley and Ray Daniels spring to mind. as having some great stories to tell. Keep on rushing, Jonathan.
Definitely. Hey, we're trying.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have anybody on the show, Jonathan. Ray Daniels, definitely.
Yeah.
Kevin.
Sorry, this is awkward segue time, but I feel like this needs to be said. Very recently, Glenn Peart, Neil Peart's father, passed away.
Yes.
I barely even know what to say other than thank you. Thank you for supporting Neil's passion. Thank you for letting him, not have to work at the tractor parts store and play drums instead. And
more like thank you for not making him feel guilty about not working at the tractor parts store.
Thank you for letting him chase his dream, because we all got to benefit from it, and that's a big deal. And our hats off to you, Glenn Peart.
Yeah, and to the Peart family, our condolences. Absolutely. I saw that today, and I'm glad you were reminded to bring that up. And what a legacy, and the stories live on.
Yeah, talk about giving a gift to the world. That's
absolutely, man. Imagine be the dad of Neil Peart. Like, holy, like,
that's my boy. That's my boy.
Beyond that, like, is this kid an alien? Where did he come from? But yeah, this is so true. Yes, again, to the Peart family and all surrounding family members and friends, our condolences to you. One other email. It's from Dennis. Outside of DC.
Ooh.
Hey, Rush Brothers, love the podcast. Just started listening. What's the actual name of that Rush song in the intro by Why Not? I've searched high and low to no avail. And it's a song called Kingdom Come. Let me just see if it's on a particular album. And remember the band Kingdom Come?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
And I don't really have much to say about them on later. That everything that can be said about them has been said. I have nothing to add.
What's the song? It's like,
I don't remember.
Hanging on.
We'll wait for you. Something like that.
I think they played.
Oh wait, no. I'm thinking of Bonham, the band Bonham.
Oh right. Something for timekeeping or whatever. I actually like that. I didn't mind that. It does sound like that though.
Well.
I know.
There's a reason for that.
I know. It's so true. Yeah. So looking here, it's for you, Dennis. It's a song called Kingdom Come. It's a fabulous tune. And why not? We're gracious enough to let me chop it up and put it in the intro, and I think it works. It has the essence of Rush. And it doesn't seem awkward or out of place,
No, not at all.
It sounds good.
I hope having it lead off the show is helping them in some small way.
We mentioned them in all 45 shows, so there's absolutely they get all the credit in the world, and this is what it's all about. Kind of giving back, and and I think they're doing well. They are truly a very good band. Tim and Billy and Rocky are just outstanding, man.
Those guys are lifers, and you can tell instantly from the first note, like, oh, okay, these guys are for real. This is they're not doing this because it's like it's Tuesday hobby night and we could be bowling. It's like they mean it.
Yeah, I think there's definitely more to come for why not down the line. Well, here we are at Rush tour news history, and in 1975, Rush played the Iroquois Park in Whitby, Ontario, on the Fly By Night tour. I got to put that album on. I haven't heard it in a while. In '77, Rush entered Rockfield Studios in Wales to begin recording a Farewell to Kings. In 1980, they played the Queen's Hall in Leeds, England on the Permanent Waves tour. In 81, Rush played the Long Beach Arena in Long Beach, California on the Moving Pictures tour. In 81, they played the Aladdin Theater in Las Vegas, Nevada on the Moving Pictures tour. In 84, they played the Kansas Coliseum in Wichita, Kansas on the Grace Under Pressure tour. In 90, they played the Deer Creek Amphitheater in Noblesville, Indiana on the Presto tour. In 91, commenting on the music score to Pod People, Tom Servo says, quote, Neil Peart on drums on today's episode of Mystery Science Theater 3000. Did they bring that back? Didn't they bring that show back?
They did, but it
failed.
Well, it wasn't the same people,
Oh.
and that was its own thing. You know,
Yeah.
it would be like if a new band came out today called Rush.
Yeah.
And sure, they played like Rush covers. It's like, yay, I guess.
Yeah.
But you know, it's not going to work. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. However, I did hear that Kids in the Hall is coming back.
Yes, that is true.
With all original members. That'll be fun.
You're going to hate me. I'm the only person on earth who doesn't think they're funny. I'm sorry.
Well, I can see, you know what, man? They're more weird than they are funny. They're just really weird guys, and the humor's weird. And for me, it's like not all of it's funny, but it's like pockets of hilarity for me.
Yeah, it's more of like a vibe in a way. And like if you
almost like SCTV, dude, that was, you know, that was weird too. I mean, there was a lot of weird shit on that. Fun. It was, but more funny, I think, than Kids in the Hall. But yes, well, the only thing, what stands out for me is that damn the chicken lady that dude always played.
Oh God, yeah.
It was so weird and funny, and like, whoa, this is strange, you know. And I hope he comes back and does that.
They would be silly not to give people exactly what they want, you know, or what's the point?
I know. I do like the intro, like At 91, Rush, let's see, play the Blockbuster Pavilion in Charlotte, North Carolina on the Roll the Bones tour. Roll the Bones. 97, Rush play the World Music Theater in Chicago, Illinois on the Test for Echo, later released as the bulk of Different Stages, a fabulous live album.
We decided that has the best sound quality of any Rush live album, or is the jury still out on that?
I think so. And we interviewed Scoville. He talked about his production on that. Make a note we should probably visit that album, because you and I just see eye to eye on that album a lot, you know, with the live stuff, and maybe we could do a couple shows on Different Stages and gather our research together. In 2006, Neil recorded 3 songs for Vertical Horizon's Burning the Days at Capitol Records Studio B in Hollywood, California. In 2007, Rush play the Sound Advice Amphitheater in West Palm Beach, Florida on the Snakes and Arrows tour. In 2008, they play the Wachovia Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on the Snakes and Arrows tour. In 2008, they play the Tweeter Center in Mansfield, Massachusetts on the Snakes and Arrows tour. I was there. Maybe I'll show some pictures. That's another show. I have a bunch of Rush.
Oh, cool.
I have thousands of, no, I shouldn't say thousands, probably about 1,500 Rush.
You have many.
Over 1,000, yeah. I was very obnoxious for a long time with it. 2011, Rush played the Don Haskins Center in El Paso, Texas on the Time Machine tour. In 2012, the film That's My Boy premiered. Adam Sandler's car has a large Rush Starman emblazoned on the hood. Love it. In 2015, Rush played the Palace in Auburn Hills, Michigan on the R40 live tour. 2018, the television program Crawford premiered, guest starring Alex Lifeson in his first ongoing television role. Thinking in terms of, guys like Adam Sandler and these popular, these stars that are out there that have just made big names for themselves in their plugs of Rush.
Yeah.
It's sort of, it seems to always be the cool guys, you know, like Sandler and and Jack Black and all that, you know. So I really admire that, you know. Oh man, if we could have, listen, this is another call out. If anybody knows Jack Black, we want Jack Black on Two Guys Talking Rush. Let's put it this way. If Jack Black comes on the show, I will change the logo for one day in the name of the show to Three Guys Talking Rush, just for Jack Black.
Wow.
I will.
I don't see how
I will alter the branding. I definitely will. So listen, Jack Black, we want you on Two Guys Talking Rush. I think I want him on more than I want Geddy Lee. like I said, man, people
think about that. For
I'm just playing. Of course, listen. I don't want to bother the guys. We don't want to bother anybody, and we don't want to drill them down with the same old. If we were to interview Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson, we would have to prepare for months.
I would be a stuttering moron throughout the entire thing from start to finish. I might get one question out if I was lucky. And it would be like lots of Xanax just to get me to calm down enough to just be lucid to do the show if those guys were to come on. Now, the idea of me taking way too much Xanax and doing the show, that alone should make them want to do it. Like they should want to see that.
Imagine like if they came, they'd have them on and you like went overboard and took too much Xanax and you were like
just
that
drooling the whole time. Yeah, it's like we're one guy talking.
It's like the most exciting time to do something like that, and you fuck it up.
Blow it, just blow it.
Like Quaaludes, you had a big jar of Quaaludes that said Quaaludes on the side. Remember that? Exactly. That's such a '70s thing. Quaaludes, Jesus Christ, what were they?
Well, they stopped making the active ingredient in them. Because it was turning into this big problem.
Oh, you're a Quaalude expert.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
But I mean, they just ended up making other stuff instead that was basically the same thing, but not Quaaludes.
Yeah.
Those are gone.
I guess it'd be a good name for a band, the Quaaludes.
Well, the lead singer for the Tubes used to do this one character, Quaalude.
Quaalude, yeah, I remember, exactly. Man. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Also like the like those kind of like triplet drum fills that were so big, and the like Bonham used to do and that sort of thing. Frank Zappa used to call that Quaalude Thunder. And I wanted to have a band called Quaalude Thunder.
I love it. That's good. That's really good, man. Yeah, cool. Cool. Well, there we are. Jack Black, you're the third guy, Jack Black.
Yeah.
So I like to do this. We've added this thing on the show called Rush Flashback. You can call it Rush Time Machine in this vein, but it's sort of delving back into some Rush news from 10 years ago, 12 years ago, just to see what the guys were doing back then. And it's always interesting, to pull out some sort of information. And we don't want to inundate you with it. But in June 2012, Geddy Lee reveals his 13 favorite albums in a new interview. And it's really interesting. I thought it was just interesting to hear a list of Geddy, what albums, I was sort of amazed by that. So let's see. Geddy reveals 13 of his favorite albums in no particular order, along with some commentary on The Quietist. That's the name of the news outlet. Here's what Geddy had to say about one of the albums on his list, Led Zeppelin's debut. To some, it might seem like an unlikely Led Zeppelin album to choose, but for me, it captures a moment. Led Zeppelin came to Toronto. I remember staying up all night to get tickets. I think I'm right in saying that this album had only just been released when we went to see them. We were very young and as such, a little bit on the edge and eager to sample anything. Then I heard Communication Breakdown and a trigger went off in my head. That was my punk rock, really. The surge of power was something I had never experienced before. There are greater and more adept and adventurous Led Zeppelin albums, and we all know which they are. But this was just the kind of explosion you can only really enjoy when you're young. After reading that, I have a show idea for Geddy Lee, if Geddy Lee would ever like to come on to Two Guys Talking Rush, is analyzing Led Zeppelin with Geddy Lee. We know Geddy. We know what he's now. This is a side of Geddy we really want to get to know. Is what is it about the Led Zeppelin albums or this album or this song that really gets to you? And perhaps listening to it, watching the video, and having a few songs that we could talk about and hear what's on Geddy's playlist. That sort of stuff. That to me would be much more exciting than saying, "What were you thinking when you wrote or when you were in the studio this time, Geddy?"
That's an interesting choice of his, though. It's not the one I would have thought necessarily. It's like it's really raw. That's a really raw album, especially for them. But it holds up.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I mean, just from a pure like music fan standpoint, especially if he was as young as he says, I mean, that album certainly like knocked me flat on my ass the first time I heard it. That's for sure.
That's like in a mint condition. That's like a $200 album. That's like
Really?
finding. Oh, absolutely, man. Yeah, Zeppelin albums are really. We're getting into vinyl collection because I collect vinyl, but Zeppelin albums used to. You just find them anywhere, and you'd pay $0.25 or $1 or whatever. But the thing with the Zeppelin albums is it's less about the wax and more about the album covers. I mean, they had creative autonomy. You know, Peter Grant negotiated their deals with Atlantic, and then of course Page went on. They went on their own with Swan Song, but the album, you know, there's so much going on in those album covers. They're just beautiful, you know.
Well, like what they did with Physical Graffiti,
I know,
where
I love it.
I could just sit there and like pull the thing out and put the thing that, you know, and just
know.
over and over, and that may have actually happened a few times in my life. That and, you know, and the wheel on Led Zeppelin 3.
I love it. Isn't that a great? It's such a great album, huh? Zeppelin 3.
It's all good. You know, they have albums I like better than others, but they don't have, in my opinion, they don't have any bad albums.
I know.
You know, I mean, the only one that I would say is like maybe not up to snuff, in my opinion, is Presence, and only because I don't like the cover. That's the music is fine.
The obelisk.
Yeah, just the obelisk. Really, we needed an obelisk. I don't know.
I'd love to find one of those. They made those. They made a short run of those. They're out there somewhere. They're all numbered and stuff, but they're hard to find. But what do I have for Zeppelin? We're on a Zeppelin kick here. Sorry, folks, but I know a large portion of our audience.
Yeah, Rush fans, they hate Led Zeppelin. There's nothing Rush fans hate more than Led Zeppelin, definitely.
Yeah. No, their albums are hard to find in good condition, and you know. Anyway, there it is. So Geddy's right on the money, and back to his list. So the complete list, in no particular order. The Who's next? Led Zeppelin. Fleet Foxes. Genesis, Nursery Crime. Jethro Tull, Thick as a Brick. Cream, Disraeli Gears. Pink Floyd, Metal. Joni Mitchell, Blue. Jefferson Airplane, Bless Its Pointed Little Head Live. Jimi Hendrix, Are You Experienced? Bjork, Post. Yes, the Yes album. Radiohead, OK Computer. I wonder if this is 2012. He picked this list. I wonder if he would come up with a different list.
Yeah, today it's all Fleet Foxes albums. all I listen to anymore. I love
all
them.
Three of Fleet Foxes albums.
Oh, I don't know. That's funny though. I would have thought it would be like all like Weather Report albums or something like that. That's interesting that he picked what he did. But you know,
I understand the Yes.
Yeah.
I understand the Hendrix.
Mm-hmm.
I understand the Floyd.
Most of it, I get it. Like I would say, like for like 10 out of the 13, I was. Yeah. What struck me is that.
But even the Who, like Who's as much as great.
That's not the album I would have thought he would pick.
I know.
And like Led Zeppelin 1 is not the Led Zeppelin album I would have thought he would have picked.
I know.
I like a different Cream album too. Like I would have thought it would be like all like live jamming, craziness. But
yeah. Interesting. So that's from that's a Rush News flashback with Geddy Lee talking about his top 13 albums for the Quietus in June of 2012. Very interesting. In recent Rush news, there are 2 new tracks from Alex Lifeson via the new alexlifeson.com website to coincide with the release of a new signature guitar. Alex has an official Instagram page now. It's at The Real Lurks with his official YouTube channel. The video includes some previously unreleased home video clips of Alex as a child, and the end credits for the 2 instrumental tracks indicate that Andy Curran plays bass on both, with Dave Quinton Steinberg playing drums on Spy House. The website also includes a newsletter sign-up page, and I don't know, I thought maybe we could play a couple of those songs. You good?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just a couple of tidbits. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. It's sort of like a debut, Remember how we used to anticipate on MTV the new video releases,
or on the radio
premiere?
when
Yeah,
they
even
would
on the
just
radio.
play the new record. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. So let's hear these two new tracks, just snippets of them, of Alex in his work here. All right, you good, Dan?
Yep.
Here we go, brother. This is. Go ahead.
Oh no, just I'm listening.
Okay, this one's called Kabul Blues.
Huh.
Cool. That sounds pretty good.
Oh, it's interesting.
All right, and this one's called Spy House. All right, we'll stop it there. That was Spy House, and for Kabul Blues, it's Andy Curran bass guitar, Alex Lyson on everything else. On Spy House, it's Andy Curran bass, David Quinton Steinberg on drums, Alex Lyson on everything else. All songs written by Alex Lyson, and it's good to hear some new music by the master, Alex Lyson.
Yeah, I mean, my immediate first thoughts are, it sounds like a movie soundtrack.
Uh-huh.
And like literally my first thought when it started playing was, oh, okay, so he's going in this completely different direction, which I understand. And I think that's actually probably a really good idea, is just get completely into something else. Because, you know, he probably wants to, you know, he was in this band for years and years and years, and maybe there was stuff that fell by the wayside that he didn't get to do. And, you know, so I can understand him now feeling like, you know, this is my opportunity. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's good.
Yeah,
There's that.
Absolutely. Well, through an extensive collaboration between Alex and Gibson, Epiphone pushed the boundaries of the classic Les Paul to create the exclusive Alex Lifeson Les Paul Standard Access, AXCESS. The guitar includes a pair of powerful Epiphone pickups, the Pro Bucker 3 bridge pickup, and the Ceramic Pro Neck pickup. Also includes coil splitting options via the push-pull volume controls and the Graphtec Ghost Floyd Rose system. Together, these features give the player access to both traditional magnetic humbucker tones as well as the Ghost's realistic acoustic tones. For added flexibility, you can blend acoustic and magnetic voices to create a rich layered sound and then route them through either a traditional mono jack or use two cables to access the individual magnetic and piezo outputs. To mark the occasion of this collaboration with Epiphone and the release of the new licensed Epiphone Les Paul standard access guitar, Alex Lifeson is proud to debut these two brand new songs titled Kaboo Blues and Spy House. So there it is. Awesome. I dig that. Still being creative and putting out some new stuff. And hey, right on. Former Judas Priest. Did you have something to say, Dan?
Oh, no, just I guess he played those songs on that guitar. Good.
Totally.
Good for him.
Exactly. Former Judas Priest drummer Les Binks. Yep, Dan's favorite drummer.
He was recently. I thought he was actually their best drummer.
Yeah, he was interviewed for the Metal Voice podcast and spoke a little bit about opening for Rush back in '78. Wow. Binks was a member of the band in the late '70s and performed on 1978 Stained Glass. Such a great album. And Killing Machine. Priest opened for Rush at a couple of shows back in '78. Wow, that must have been interesting on the Farewell to Kings tour. And Binks recalls the following about the experience. Well, he's English. Binks, right? Yeah. Well, I was familiar with Rush's material at the time. It was an earlier part of the career. This is Binks talking. We had been on first, and I was standing at the side of the stage watching a show, and I only caught a short portion of the show. I noticed all these big banks of Marshall stacks that they had on stage, which looked very impressive. But when I stood at the side of the stage, I could see that behind the Marshall stacks, there was a Fender Twin Reverb mic'd up. And that's what the guitar player, Alex Lifeson, had. So the guitar player was actually playing through a Fender Twin Reverb, but all the Marshall stacks were there just for show. Binks was also asked about Neil Peart. I was so sad to hear the news of him passing away, but he was a fantastic drummer, very well respected. What can I say? One of the best. You can listen to the interview online, and it exists online. So I always like hearing about what old rockers have to say about each other,
When it started off with him saying, and I went by the side of the stage, I was totally expecting him to talk about just watching Neil play. Because anytime I've ever been at the side of the stage, that's finally. Yeah, right. It's my opportunity. I can watch the drummer.
Right.
But no, that's really funny though, that they had to kind of even at that point in their career, still kind of mime it a little bit. They weren't quite this is all our equipment. We call 100% of the shots with it. None of that yet. But yeah. And they were 5 years into their career at that point too.
Amazing. Yeah, crazy. Well, Rush album artist Hugh Syme to appear at an opening for a new art exhibit in Austin. Longtime Rush album artist Hugh Syme will be opening a new art exhibit at the Austin's A05 Gallery later this month. The exhibit will include a selection of Syme's best known works, along with an assortment of previously unseen originals. The exhibit will kick off with a VIP event on Friday, June 25th from 7 to 9, where Syme will meet with attendees and autograph one personal item. That's awesome. The VIP event costs $50 and is limited to 50 attendees, with tickets available via the A05gallery.com website. So that's kind of cool. So if you're out there somewhere in that vicinity and near Austin, I'm sure there are Rush fans, rabid Rush fans, that are going to be going out to that. Anything to do with Rush, they'll go out.
Absolutely.
Geddy Lee and his mother, Mary Weinrib, were featured in the season finale of Cradle to Stage, the Paramount Plus docuseries from Dave and Virginia Grohl, based on Virginia's 2017 book of the same name. The episode is now generally available for watching for subscribers wherever Paramount Plus is available. I don't know if I have Paramount Plus. Do you?
I don't know.
I love how all these sub channels are coming out of subscription-based streaming sub channels. It's wow. There's another level to this that I have to pay for. I already pay for.
It goes
scammy.
Scammy,
dude.
We do subscribe to a couple of more specialty. I subscribe to Criterion Collection and a couple of other things.
Yeah.
But there's even a level beyond that where it's just hyper specific. Down to the most granular level, fourth degree type.
How much is the Criterion one? How much is it?
It's $10 a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's all good stuff.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Well, cool. So Yep, the episode is now available for watching for subscribers. One more noteworthy scenes involved a conversation that Dave, Virginia, and his daughter Violet were having around the dinner table about 15 minutes into the show. Dave is discussing his conversation with Getty and his mom and her incredible Holocaust survival story. It says the following: "It was funny for me to sit with Getty and his mom because he had changed my life. Rush really changed my life. I love the music. I love singing in a car to AM radio, but I never listened to the drums until I heard Rush. As we were sitting with Getty and his mom, I was thinking, if it weren't for her, I might not be a drummer." It'd be fun to hang out with, or not hang out with, but to talk to Dave Grohl about.
Yep.
The thing about him, man, is this. Whether you like Foo Fighters or not, he to me comes off as a genuine fan of music, and and again, whether you like Nirvana or I think he's a great drummer. I just, I like Foo Fighters, but I'm not foaming at the mouth, for their music. There's catchy tunes, absolutely.
No, they've done some good stuff, but I mean, to me,
it's rock and roll.
Well, in a lot of ways, he's like really given back quite a bit to the metal community generally. He's done a lot of work on behalf of like much less popular bands.
Absolutely.
That it was not in his interest necessarily to help, and he only did because he really gave a shit and really wanted to help them.
Yeah.
Voivod, who I talk about constantly, for example, he like really gave them a leg up when they needed it.
Yeah.
He's the genuine article. He's the real thing.
He totally is, man. And again, if Grohl would like to come on the show, and I'll change the logo to 4 guys.
Yeah.
Talking Rush. Jack Black, David Grohl. So there it is. 4 guys talking Rush.
Just pile in.
I will.
Pile into the clown car.
They can pop on anytime, and then I'll change the branding for those episodes. Anyway, so you can check out this clip on Paramount Plus, and it lives on the internet. The 50th Juno Awards took place this past weekend, and one of the ceremony's highlights was 15-time Juno Award winning band, the Canadian Music Hall of Fame inductees, the Tragically Hip, performing with singer-songwriter Feist, and also receiving the Humanitarian Award from Rush's Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson. You can check out their introduction speech. The Hips acceptance speech is also on YouTube, along with their performance, and very interesting stuff. There was a nod to Rush in his speech. Gord Sinclair of the Hip. "We owe a great deal to Alex and Geddy and Neil. Back in 91, we were invited to support Rush at Maple Leaf Gardens. What an honor for their annual charity concert. It was a turning point for us, playing with the greatest Canadian band, legendary venue, to benefit local charities, inspire us to imagine our own philanthropic possibilities." So that's cool.
Yeah.
It was the Hip's first performance without their iconic frontman Gord Downey, who passed away back in 2017. The Humanitarian Award recognizes outstanding Canadian artists or industry leaders whose humanitarian contributions have positively changed or enhanced the social fabric of Canada and beyond. So there it is. Earlier this past weekend, last week at the Juno's virtual opening night awards, longtime Anthem /SRO Vice President Peggy Ciccone, Rush's original record company management company, finally received her Walt Grealish Special Achievement Award. Congratulations, Peggy. Such an honor. In her multiple roles as part of Rush's management company and record label over the past 50 years, Ciccone played a pivotal role in the band's development and success. The award ceremony included a biographical video and short acceptance speech with interview segments from Rush's Alex Lifeson and Geddy Lee, Rush's manager Ray Daniels, and many others. That video lives online. And you can see the acceptance speech at the Canadian Music Scene website. So congratulations, Peggy. Yep. Thank you for your contributions in bringing Rush to us. Later this summer, Brown Trout Publishers will be releasing their official 2022 Rush wall calendar, celebrating the upcoming 40th anniversary of the September 1982 release of Rush's Signals album. Ooh, a Signals wall calendar. You've really done something if you become a wall calendar.
Yeah, I mean, we have a wall calendar of like muscle cars from 1965. So I'm glad to see that they've now graduated to similar status.
I love it. 2022 marks the 40th anniversary of Rush's landmark album, Signals. This official 16-month calendar features images highlighting the Signals album and tour cycle with a complete 82 tour dates, some never before seen photos, and other notable events from that year. Cool. The calendar will officially be released on July 1st, and you can order it on Amazon, so go do it. There's a gentleman named Kevin Hampton who wrote a piece for the Albany Democrat Herald this past week describing his own personal Rush fandom titled My Musical Journey with Rush, which is available to read online. Get Kevin on the horn, Kevin Hampton, and we'll have him on the show. He writes, I don't have that piece, but it is online. Classic Rock Magazine recently chatted with guitarist Paul Gilbert, asked him about the 10 albums that changed his life, one of which was Rush's Hemispheres. Quote, by the time Hemispheres came out, I was able to play through that sort of stuff, and it was fun. I'd sit down with my pedal board, my flanger, delay, wah-wah, and play the music and play the pedals. Alex Lifeson had that great swirly chorus sound on stuff, a nice clean sound for the arpeggios, then heavier on songs like Circumstances. He rips into the main riff flawlessly and sings slightly less so. Geddy's killing, singing 5 octaves higher than anybody else. Neil was the opposite of Alex Van Halen, always had very tight hi-hat, but the drummer in my band as a 14-year-old would play Van Halen songs like Neil. We'd tell him, man, play Rush like Rush, but don't bring that Van Halen stuff. This is the beginning of my exposure to prog. It was like a memorization game. Can you memorize all these parts and keep it up as it goes along, ? So that's cool to hear people's individual
If we
journeys.
get him on, then we will have had half of Mr. Big on the show.
Paul Gilbert.
Yeah.
All right, do it.
Because we had Billy Sheehan. So if we get the two of them, then
Yeah.
Oh, you're just not laughing because you think it's not funny.
No, I think
okay.
I just keep thinking of the Rush song that they sing.
Addicted to that
That's what I'm
Rush.
thinking about. Yeah.
Why do I remember these things?
I don't know. I dare you to ask him if he's addicted to that Rush.
Are you addicted to that Rush?
Or does that song mean that? Addicted to that Rush? I should have asked Billy that, damn it. Well, anyway.
We'll have to have him back.
Paul Gilbert, we want you on the show. Well, here it is. Introducing our special guests. Dan have been a little long-winded on this show, but that's okay because it's summertime and we want to extend some of these segments out. So you guys have awesome stuff to listen to at the beach. Dan and I can go to the beach and not have to worry about providing you with good quality stuff. So our shows over the summer are going to be big and fat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, our next guests are Mike Dixon and Mark Cunningham. We have 2 guests. We're combining 2 guests on this show. Mike Dixon, you guys are going to love this.
Yeah.
Mike Dixon, the mighty Mike Dixon, was one of the movers, literally one of the literal movers, a moving company guy, on Rush's 1981 multi-platinum album, Moving Pictures. We deep dive into the cover of that album like no other. We're
that
talking
is deep. That is deep.
We're talking to a character that lives on a piece of art of one of the most legendary albums of all time. We're going to hear his story. It's incredible. And then we have Mark Cunningham, organizer of Prog for Peart. Mark is in the UK. This event is happening Friday the 13th of August and Saturday the 14th of August, which might be also, it all comes back to Woodstock, the 52nd anniversary of Woodstock.
That's true, actually.
Yeah, wait, is it it's the 52nd, right?
Yeah.
16 prog bands play 2 gigs over 2 days. Plus, it'll be live over the internet to celebrate the life of Neil Peart and to raise funds to combat the brain cancer that stole his life. All profits go to the research trials of a promising new treatment for glioblastoma multiforme. The trials are being carried out by the Nottingham Trent University, with funds being distributed by the Headcase Cancer Trust. Donations to the charity can be made directly on the website I'm about to give you. Prog for Peart is 2 concerts featuring 8 prog bands over 2 days, and it'll be held at the Northcourt a 200 capacity venue in Abingdon, Oxfordshire,
Mhm.
starting at midday on both days and running through until April. Oh boy, I wish I could just sit there and just suck down some pints and just be in England and like watch people who love Rush play Rush.
Would be nice.
We have,
Yeah.
you know, let me tell you something, man. People in the UK love us. We're huge in the UK.
We are not appreciated in our own country. We should move to the UK and say goodbye, all you people.
We're like the early Jimi Hendrix era.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what we're like.
When will we be appreciated by our own kind? Or when
Perhaps hundreds of years from now, future generations will look upon our statues.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, organizer Mark Cunningham was on the show, and he emailed us, and we want to support all efforts by Rush fans who are doing wonderful things for charity, any charity that they're involved in. And if we can, by way of loving Rush, support Rush fans who are doing great things. You know, if a friend's house burned down and you're a Rush fan, and the guys, the families, you know, they're Rush fans. I mean, come on, if it has something to do with Rush and we can help you, come on the show. You know.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want people from out of nowhere joining us for GoFundMe pages who are non-Rush fans.
Yeah. Well, we'll do our due diligence beforehand
totally.
and make sure it's legit.
Yeah, but I mean, of course, this podcast is again, like I said in the beginning of the show, for Rush fans. So Mark Cunningham was on. He says he's been a Rush fan since the late 70s. In 2012, he explains that he decided he can't let this pass without doing something. He booked a band called Bravado, who he says are a terrific three-piece Rush tribute band. They were the first port of call, as he says, and asked them how they'd feel about turning it into a charity event. Thus was born Prog for Peart. You can get tickets, learn more about Prog for Peart and Mark Cunningham's passion to help this disease and spread the good word about Rush at www.northcourt.music.com/prog-for-peart.html or .com. So, .html, that's the extension. So again, www.northcourt.music.com/prog-for-peart. And there it is. You'll find everything you need to know about Prog for Peart and Mark Cunningham. So here it is, folks. Happy summer. This is going to be an extended podcast for you guys to enjoy. Go to the beach, be with your family, love your family, enjoy the maskless wearing, and go to a concert if you're vaccinated, and do whatever you got to do to enjoy your lives. And we want to welcome Mike Dixon and Mark Cunningham to Two Guys Talking Rush.
Hi, John. Hi, Dan. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, it's good to meet you.
Nice to meet you, my friend. Well,
I got to tell you that Rush fans are some of the nicest, smartest, good-looking people I've ever met.
Absolutely. If you're not handsome, you're not really a Rush fan. That's how I feel about it.
Well, maybe, yeah.
That's funny. Well, the mighty Mike Dixon. We want to hear your story, man. You know that this year is a special year. It's the 40th anniversary of the famed Moving Pictures album, the iconic album that so many Rush fans have on their top 5 lists of top 5 Rush albums amid 19 or 20 studio albums. Mike, where'd you grow up? Who are you?
I live in Niagara in St. Catharines, and I am a full-time professional musician, so I have never grown up yet, but I'm working on it. Every day I get a little better. But I live in beautiful Niagara in Canada. It's a great place. But I'd like just to, before we start, to say hola to my friends in Brazil and a couple of my friends in Germany, Wie geht's, alles klar? And to all my friends in Quebec, bonjour, ça va? And to my good friends in Boston, Slancha, how's it going, brothers?
That's where I'm from. I'm from Boston, man. That's where I grew up.
Well, you can never have too many pints in Boston, you know.
Absolutely not, man. Absolutely not. So you grew up. So you grew up. What were you like as a kid? How old? Well, I'm not gonna ask how old you are, but what'd you listen to in high school? And tell us the whole story of Mike Dixon.
Well, the story of Mike Dixon. Well, it started, and it's kind of interesting too because I started playing music when I was in grade school. I was already in the musicians union when I was in grade 10, and I was a drummer. And there was a lot of good musicians in Niagara. And one of them was this guy named Neil Peart. And I used to go and watch him play. And I said, this guy seems to be pretty good. I wonder if I still want to keep playing drums or not. But of course I did. And he joined Rush. And I worked in Niagara as a full-time hired gun drummer, I guess you would say.
Wow. So that's your first instrument. That's the instrument you've been playing all your life.
Yeah, I play drums. I play hand drums, cajon, djembes, but I've got 3 or 4 drum kits, and I got a pair of sticks that Neil sent me.
Oh wow,
cool, man.
Nice.
So
actually, they didn't come directly from Neil. They came through the company, and God bless Neil.
Yeah, man, definitely. So what were you listening to in high school? What were your bands in high school, man?
Well, I was listening, when I first got into music, of course, for everyone in my world, it started with the Beatles. And then from the Beatles, I got into the Stones. And then after that, The Who blew my mind. So that's where I went after that. And then drummers like Mitch Mitchell, Ginger Baker, those were the guys who had the influence on me. And I'm going to say for the first, 20 years of my career, all I listened to really was rock music. And like the guys in Rush, they were listening to Yes and Genesis and all of that. I was more into The Who, shall we say, rather than Genesis. That was my direction.
Yeah. And when did you first, before your interaction with Rush on this other level that we're going to get to, when was the first time you heard Rush? Where were you? Did someone turn you on to Rush? Were they just like kind of local legends because you're in Canada or what?
Well, even back in the day, let's go back to the mid 70s. Neil had kind of just joined the band, but I had actually met John Rutsey a year or two earlier when the drinking age went to 18. That's when rock and roll just took off for us in Niagara. And John Rutsey actually came to see my band playing at a bar. But at the time, I didn't know who Rush was, or, they didn't have records or anything at that point. And then a few years later, I heard that Neil was going to be joining this band, Rush. But they'd already had an event which had Rush, Bull Rush, and Mahogany Rush, which was 3 Rush bands. Ironically, Neil was playing drums in Bull Rush in that show. So I don't even know if the guys in Rush even knew that this is the guy who's going to be your drummer in a couple years. And then the next time I saw Rush really was up at Brock University around 1975, 76. Wow. And Max Webster opened for them, and Rush was the headliner. Now, flashback to the 70s, guys, there was 1,000-watt par cans, there wasn't backdrops, it was pretty raw. And to see those 2 bands at a university gymnasium, it was pretty cool. And at that point, I said, wow, I'm really glad Neil made it. Now, bear in mind, I never really hung out with Neil, but I played with all the guys he played with. And I was so happy when he got into Rush and moved to Toronto, because then I got more work. So it was good for me.
Are you, with regard to your style of drumming, do you consider yourself a prog drummer or kind of a John Bonham style drummer or what?
I would be more into your basic rock and roll, straight up 2/4 on the floor kind of drummer.
Yep.
And fortunately, and even back in the olden days, we used to giggle. I said, I don't do any Rush tunes. And I was in a great band called the Loud Shirts back then. We were a real good party band in Niagara. And I said, and Neil doesn't do any Loud Shirt tunes. So that was the deal.
That's funny. When you talk about Neil, you were glad for Neil and how he had moved on. Were you surprised by his sort of articulation of words and lyrics? I mean, that's a whole other thing, right? I mean, he's not just a drummer, but he's changing the course of where Rush was going post John Rutsey. It's a different Rush after Rutsey. So
yeah, it definitely changed when Neil came in, and you can even tell at that point how all the songs took on a whole new dynamic range. All the rhythm structure and everything changed up. The songs got more complicated, and the lyrics got really good. Now, the thing about Neil, he was, and what I understand from a lot of his close friends, he was a very quiet guy, and he loved to read, and he loved to read everything. So one thing I want to say for Neil is people say, oh, well, he thinks this way. Neil had such an open mind. He looked at everything. And he thought there was something to be learned from something every time he read a book or did something like that. And you can see in his lyrics how it came out that a lot of things influenced him and where he was at that moment. And he might have been somewhere else a year before and somewhere else a year beyond.
Yeah. Were you amazed this is before Moving Pictures arrives? Because, what do we have? We have albums like Hemispheres, which is sort of this peak of Rush mastery, with song composition and lyrics. And then, of course, Permanent Waves comes out. We could see this trajectory of where the band's going with regard to the shorter, complex songs, but much shorter treatment of their work. And then the arrival of Moving Pictures. But when the band reaches around the era of Hemispheres, what are you thinking about Rush at that point? Because this isn't the early Rush that we're talking about. Yeah,
it was the transition. It was the Rush showing people where they were going is basically the way I saw it. And you got to bear in mind too, I never really got to see the band very much. Remember that concert I said I was at 76?
Yeah.
The next time I saw them live was for the Time Machine.
Oh wow. Wow,
Yeah.
really?
So that is a huge space. And people say, well, why didn't you go see them? Well, I always had a gig. I mean, I was just playing. But I'm a working musician. I'm just go and do my gig, get paid, hire a gun, make other guys sound good.
Yeah, totally. That's cool. So around the era of Moving Pictures, what is this, Dan, 81?
Yeah.
How do you get involved? How does the band reach out to you for you to get to be on the cover of the Moving Pictures album?
Well, I am going to say that, see if I got this thing here.
Well, before that, before we even get to that, what did you think about the Rush artwork to begin with? Because there's a couple things happening here. It's the treatment and aesthetic by Hugh Syme that brings another level to Rush's mastery. I could never think of Rush without Hugh Syme involved. Because he's so prolific and has contributed so much to their identity in this way. But here you are now infinitely part of a history of a band on one of the most iconic albums, not just for Rush, but of all time, right? It's a very important album. And I'm just curious, now that you are the artwork, what did you think of Rush?
There's a story.
Yeah, I was going to say, what do you think of Rush's album artwork leading up to Moving Pictures? I'm not sure if you've ever been asked that before.
No, but what I can do is really give you a short history. When Hugh Syme got involved, and Hugh was my friend, and Bob King, who was the Starman, and he was on Hemispheres. Bob was the one who really said, Hugh wants you to help him out. We're doing this album cover for Rush, and we need a couple of guys to stand around on the back cover. And I said, oh, that'll be fun, Bob, no problem. Now, Hugh and I were friends because he was the keyboard player for the Ian Thomas band. And as I understand it, some of the guys from Rush walked into the same management that Ian Thomas had and said, gee, that's a lovely picture. Who did that? He said, well, that's Hugh Syme, my keyboard player. Oh. And the Rush album cover artwork prior to Hugh, it was pretty bland to be honest. And when Hugh did the first one he did was Caress of Steel, which was just artwork. And from there, I guess they really liked it, and Hugh became their artistic director, for lack of a better term, on most of their album covers, and which kind of blended into shows and things like that. But for me, from Caress of Steel on, and then my friend Bob King got involved. So he was on the Hemispheres album. He was also on the 2112 album, The Starman.
Was he on Farewell to Kings as well? Isn't there?
He
was he the king? He was the
he was not on Farewell to Kings.
Yeah.
That was a guy named Josh Andrusoni, who was the guitar player for the Ian Thomas band, as I understand it.
Okay.
Now I'm going to premise everything as I understand it, because some of them come to me secondhand, you know.
Sure, man.
And considering where the first hand was, you never know what's going on. But if you hear it from three different guys, there's got to be some truth to it somewhere.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. But anyways, just to bring you up to speed quickly, when Hugh was going to shoot the moving pictures, they shot it on it was a Sunday up at Queen's Park, which is our Parliament buildings in Ontario and Toronto. And as far as I knew, there was me, Bob, and my friend Mario, and we came from Niagara to be standing around on the back cover. Everything changed when I got there. Now we were shooting something called a video, which prior to the 80s, they didn't have video backdrops. They didn't have videos and things. So this was almost future marketing at that point. So when everything was set up, you just quickly took a shot, and they shot videos of Bob and me and the guys going up the stairs. And that video I had not seen ever until the R40 tour came out, and on Red Barchetta, on the extras, they showed that video, and I was just blown away because I had not seen it. Now to fast forward real quickly to when I saw Rush again, my friend Mark, who used to work at Sam the Record Man, hadn't seen him in 15 years, reaches out and says, Mike, I got a ticket for you. You have to come and see this Rush show. So I blew off a gig, went up to meet him, and my mind was exploded. I had no idea that people knew who I was. And I'm walking around at this concert. People are coming up to me and getting my picture taken. I go, guys, I'm just a drummer, man. I'm nothing special. And it was a real shock to me. Then the show starts, and I'm animated, and I'm flying out of the stage. I'm flying out. I'm going, my friend Mark, sitting next to me, was just killing himself because he knew the history of how I had gotten involved. And that just brings us up to where I was. So anyway, we'll get up from there. What's your next, where would I leave off here?
Well, we were talking about the day of the shoot and how the day of you being there changed. Okay,
so Bob and I and Mario pull up, and all of a sudden I see trucks and people and all kinds of activity. I'm going, Hugh, what are you up to today? Because Hugh, to me, was still a genius. And people laugh because we used to call ourselves the creative team from Niagara. Creative. We were drinking Courvoisier, waiting to go on to do our thing. That was how creative we were. Awesome. But Hugh put the whole thing together. He has a vision, and away it goes. Yeah. You know, in the moving picture.
Did he ever explain to you what his vision was for the Moving Pictures album?
No, he would just tell us what we needed to know, and he kept us all on the same page. So basically, from my perspective, he got me and Bob in this picture, and Deborah Samuels had already shot the witch picture that was in that frame, and she was the photographer, so that was done already. And he said, okay, you and Bob stand right here. Well, I thought I was going to be standing around with 50 other people with my back to the wall. And all of a sudden, Bob and I are like center stage because we're carrying these videos up for this thing called a video. Okay, cool. And so we shot that for a little bit in the morning. And then in the afternoon, we came back and we did all the same shots again, but all still photography. Still thinking I was not on the front cover.
So let me ask you, what do you think the vision was for the video based on Hugh Syme? Do you think he was going to make a video for some of the songs of the album, or what?
I think he was anticipating that this album was going to be something, and the next tour that they did was going to be something greater visually in terms of lighting. And then back then we had 1,000-watt power cans. We didn't have LEDs and computer-driven lights and all of that.
Right.
But the way I understood it, and I didn't go to the concert, but apparently my friends said, "Hey man, I went to see the Rush show. You're on this video that they're playing in the back of Tom Sawyer or something." I go,
wow.
"Really, I am?"
Oh,
But I mean, just to flash backwards for a second,
yeah.
we shot this thing, and the album didn't come out for a year later.
Right.
And all of a sudden, I'd even forgotten I'd done it. And my friends are coming up and he said, "Hey man, I just got the new Rush album cover. You're right on the front cover." And I go, "What?" So I finally got a hold of a cover, and I just went, "Oh my goodness!" And I said, "Hughie, Hugh sign you." Anyway, Hugh's a sweetheart. He's a genius.
He's a legend. Now, so I'm going to pull up the cover right now so we can all look at it. And
Two guys talking, brush two guys talking, brush two guys talking, brush two guys talking, brush two guys.
Stay tuned for part 2 of the Two Guys Talking Rush podcast next week.